Welcome back, my creative friends. Today we're going to paint some stacked pumpkins. You're going to need a medium flat brush as well as a small and medium round brush. Don't forget to have a rag and a cup of water handy. The colors you're going to need are black, orange, red, white, brown, green, and yellow. So let's get started. Step 1 is paint your whole entire canvas black. I like to use my medium flat brush for this, and then let your canvas dry before you move on to the next step. With a dry background, I'm going to lay out my pumpkins, and I'm going to use my medium round brush, and I'm going to make the bottom pumpkin first. It's the biggest pumpkin, and really it's going to be a set of parentheses. So a curved line on the left and a curved line on the right, knowing that I have to put 2 more sets above it. So set of parentheses on the bottom, and then just a little bit more narrow just above that, your second set of parentheses. And above that is going to be our smallest pumpkin. Go ahead and paint this entire space in white, making sure that you kind of smooth out those lines. You don't want any chunky white left behind. Switching to my small round brush and a little bit of white paint, we're going to add our details around our pumpkins. So I'm going to start with that white paint on my small round brush, and I'm going to make some leaves. I like to make my leaves with like a smiley face and then a frowny face. Oops, let me fix that frowny face. And you can add leaves as many as you want, really. I like to keep things in odd numbers, so sets of 3s, really. 1, 3, 5, 7. Just an odd number. It's a little bit more interesting for your eye. So as I'm doing this, I might put a single leaf in one area, and then I might put a double leaf in another area. But feel free to add as many as you want. When I think about autumn, I think about wind. So we're going to add some swirly lines coming out from behind our pumpkins. Again, just like the leaves, you can add as many as you want, but I do like to keep mine in odd numbers. I went ahead and let my pumpkins dry a little bit before I went in and started adding my color. So with orange, I am going to fill in my pumpkin following those curved lines that I originally made. So thinking about making those curved lines on the outside a little bit wider, and then as I come in towards the center, making them a little taller. So as we go through this pumpkin, you're going to see layers and layers and layers of color. But the first color I'm always going to use is orange because I do want this pumpkin to be orange. I'm going to show you the details on the first pumpkin, and then I'm going to speed myself through the next 2 pumpkins. So as I'm following those curved lines across, it's okay if my pumpkin is still a little wet because that white color is still going to kind of show through as a little bit of a highlight. So don't worry if some of your white shows through. So as your pumpkin gets finished, we're going to start adding in our layers of color. So I'm not going to wash my brush off. I'm going to stay with my orange and I'm going to add some yellow on there. Again, following those curved lines of that pumpkin, because as we add these extra colors in, little bits of red, lots of yellow, a little bit of white, you're going to notice how these lines help form the pumpkin. Now that I've got my red and yellow on there, let's add a little bit of white. My white's more like the highlight color, so keeping that towards the center of the pumpkin or the top of the pumpkin is really the best idea because it shows that there's a highlight in those areas. So white's going to be the smallest color we use, but make sure you kind of pull those down following that same line. Once you get your pumpkin where you like it, grab your small little brush with some brown paint, and we're going to start to fill in a little bit more of those detail lines. So those curved lines that really follow that pumpkin down, and these can be kind of like ghost lines where sometimes you see them and sometimes you don't. But those little brown lines are going to help us kind of form our pumpkin out. So your job now is to do all 3 of your pumpkins. Remember, start with the orange, add in your red, yellow with just a little bit of white, finishing off with your skinny brown lines. Let's get these done. Now let's fill our leaves in. You can make your leaves any color you want, but I'm gonna keep mine the pumpkin color. So I'm gonna start with yellow on this leaf. And all of my leaves I'm gonna add a second color to. So this one's gonna be yellow with just a little bit of orange at the top and then blending those two colors together nicely. Again, you can make all your leaves the same, or you can have a little bit of fun with the colors that are on your palette. Down here, I'm gonna add just a little bit of green to this leaf. And then I'm gonna move on to some reds and oranges as well. So remember, as you're working through your leaves, feel free to add two colors into them. It's a little bit more interesting for the eye if it's not a solid color. With my itty bitty round brush and some white paint, I'm gonna outline my leaves and add my stem and my veins. So just a curved line down the middle of my leaf with a couple of diagonal lines going off of it, ending with a white outline. And this outline does not have to be incredibly neat. It's okay if it kind of goes off the edge a little bit. We almost have a chalkboard feeling with this canvas, so don't feel like it has to be incredibly neat. I let my pumpkins dry a little bit before going in and adding that binding, which is going to be the vines from the pumpkin. So I'm going to use some green and some brown, and I'm going to make some curly cues from the center of the pumpkin, right in between where they're sitting. You can add some flowers along here or some leaves along here, but I really love my curly cues. So I'm just going to go through and I'm going to add some, of course, odd number curly cues with some green and some brown, finishing off with a little bit of yellow just to highlight it up. You can add as many of these or as few of these as you want to. Let's finish off the top of our pumpkin with some white and brown paint, just a curved line going about a half an inch below the top of the pumpkin. And this is going to be our pumpkin stalk. So a little bit of white, a lot of brown, Then we're going to finish off with some black detail just to add some really nice depth to our pumpkin's stalk. If you've ever painted with me before, you know that I love polka dots. I like to use the back of my paintbrush, a rounded part of my brush, to make some polka dots. And these dots I'm putting on this canvas are going to be thicker at the bottom and kind of dissipating as they go up towards the top of the canvas. So about every 2 or 3 dots, I go and get a little bit more white paint on the back of my brush. Now, if your brush has a point to it, you can always use a Q-tip or the back of an eraser on a pencil. Anything you can to make a small circle. Anytime I write words, I do like to lay my canvas down flat. I think it works just a little bit better. I like to water my paint down just a little bit so that it is not as thick on my brush. So I'm adding a little bit of water to my white paint, and then I'm going to write my words autumn. Now you can have this say happy fall, y'all. You can have it say autumn. It's really your choice, or you can just leave it without any words. What I like to do is kind of print off a picture of something that I like off of my computer, a certain font, and then I go off of that font. So you can copycat the way I do it, or hop on your computer, search up a couple of words about fall and make it your own. And don't forget when you're finished that it's your job to sign your name. I always like to pick a color that will stand up on my canvas, and I put my initials in the bottom right corner. Don't forget, I only get to see what you're painting at home if you post it onto our Facebook page, Painting with a Purpose. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Painting with a Purpose. And as always, stay kind, stay creative, and stay safe. Have a great day, friends. Bye.